So hi, welcome to the Good Noise Podcast of Violet Night. We're gonna ask him some questions today. I'm gonna start. So, what inspired you to start the band, and what does the band name mean?
Um, I guess like for me, being in bands has always really just been about trying to inspire other people the way that other bands have inspired us. Trying to create like a safe place or for me, music has always been an escape. People use it as a crutch. There's lots of things you can use it for, so it's kind of one of those things that we just kind of started it initially to create that same feeling for other people. Hopefully, inspire other people. I think that there's a lot of comfort and a lot of inspiration, and music carries people through the hardest times, the best times. It carries people through everything. So that was basically kind of why we started it. I mean, I've played in bands since I was just a kid. Many different bands. This one's the one that's definitely got the most traction as far as like it's definitely got some wheels under it now, and things are going quite well for us. Currently, the name of the band, oh, I don't even know. We were gonna call ourselves Wolves. It was gonna be just like my name because I was in a different band and nobody wanted to do things seriously, and so I was going to just quit and do like an indie kind of solo acoustic outing. And then my best friend at the time, who's our keyboard player now, I was like, "Hey man, um, I'm gonna go record. You want to go to school to score film? Why don't we just do a band?" And then in 2015, that would have been like in December 2015, so like late, we started. And yeah, the rest is kind of just history. The name, I don't really know where it came from. Violet was TJ's favorite color, and he's the keyboard player. And we were like, we liked Violet Nights, and then we liked a whole bunch of different variations of Violet with, play on words to different things. And Violet Night kind of just encompassed the feeling of, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you ever seen the movie Drive by Nicholas Winding Refn, like that movie? Or
I can't say I have.
Okay, there's a lot of different films and movies that give us this certain feeling, and that's like what we called the feeling, and so then ultimately it's what we called the band.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
that's cool. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, congrats on your upcoming release, Antiheroes. How do you feel about the response to the singles so far?
Um, Very positive. I mean, "Hate Me," I think is nearing 100,000 spins, and it's been out for a month. And first week for "If You're the Ocean, I Would Like to Drown" is around 50K. Um, it seems around that. So it's doing quite well. And right now we're on 10 different editorial playlists by Spotify.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
So it's been getting pushed very hard by Spotify.
definitely.
Yeah, so the reception has been crazy. It's because those two songs in particular are heavier than our usual like music. Like, they're heavier, they're darker. Like, "If You Were the Ocean, I Would Like to Drown" is definitely a darker song, kind of heavier. So it's like, I did not expect that kind of reception at all. I thought people would hate it, and when it got picked up by playlists and people were like, "This is the best stuff you guys have ever done," I was just like, not anticipated at all. Definitely thought that people would be like, "Wow, I miss your guys' softer indie stuff. I miss your whatever." So for me, it was like I had a pretty deep sense of gratitude, and it was like, "Wow, people like it." It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
So, if
Mm.
people are digging the heavier and darker stuff, is there more of that on the horizon then?
Yeah, I mean, the single we've pitched, the single we're pushing as like the album release on Friday is a song called Wallflower, and that song is in the same vein as the previous two. Um, the record's pretty all over the map. There's 9 songs. You guys have the record by chance?
Yes, we'll
Hmm.
be
Yeah.
reviewing
Okay.
it on
So yeah,
Monday.
yeah, sweet. So you know that there's like quite a bit of, there's some indie sounding stuff and there's heavy stuff. So it's pretty wide ranging in scope of sound. So there's definitely more heavy stuff on the horizon, but there's definitely more of what I would say is people would be more familiar with as well coming.
Okay, all right.
Wonderful.
So speaking of that record, can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for it and how it evolved from your first release to now?
That record, this record in particular, was different because it was a little more sporadic. I mean, we wrote. I started writing it in 2017. Like, we tracked "Colors of You," which was our debut LP, and we tracked that, put it out in May of 2018, and obviously it was done tracking in like 2017. So I started writing Antiheroes in 2017, and then we wrote, I would say, half of it, and then recorded that with a producer and engineer in Edmonton, Canada, and then we were relocated to Toronto, and I was writing a lot of stuff that I really liked, and it was going to be an EP. Essentially, this was going to be an EP, and then I wrote these 4 other songs um, that I really believed in, and we met a really great producer there named Sam Guayana, and we worked with him. I co-wrote the 4 new ones with our new drummer Tay Ewart, which is kind of a cool story about Tay. Is that Tay is in the pop punk band like Pacific, and I was a fan of that band. Like, I was familiar with them. I'd listened to them as a fan, and our manager at the time put out an ad saying, these guys are new. They're in Toronto. They need a drummer. And Tay had heard some of our new stuff and was interested, and then we met and started jamming, and that was pretty cool. And
That's cool.
he and I have become really good friends, and we're now obviously in a band together. And it's at first it was like, like they just, I think they just toured that year with like Good Charlotte and stuff, so it was kind of cool. It was like, he's definitely a very professional, very reliable guy, which is great because we've had a lot of drummers come and go, but he feels very very stable, like very dependable, which is very important to me because like I'm the first guy to be like, because like being the singer and being the guy that kind of I feel like facilitates a lot of everything. It's like it seems like it's always my responsibility to make sure we have a full lineup and all this other stuff. And with him, there's like never any question. I just know I can rely on him, which is great. And so so he and I wrote 4 songs. Well, I guess 3 together, and then one of them, the Super Bloom, is just an acoustic like bedroom thing that I did by myself. And then he and I wrote "Hate Me," "Wallflower," and "Ocean" together. And it was just us having fun. That I didn't really consider like, oh, we're gonna go do these for the record right away. It was just one of those things where it's like, hey, this is a good time. We're having fun. Hey, we have crazy cool chemistry. Hey, like, and it was cool for me because I've never written in it. Like on the last records and the previous songs, I generally would never write with a drummer because we would just hire session drummers for tours. Like when we toured the States and that, it would just be like hire a session guy. And we had a great session player on the record and on tours. That's Joel Jeske. Really, really talented guy. Definitely more of a session guy, and he's got like a zillion projects on the go. So, he's doing his thing and holding that down. But so for me, it was really cool to have Tay to jam within a room, and I think that having that where we were actually able to interact with one another and collaborate, on the fly, I think it really helped make those songs special.
All right.
Wonderful.
Not to take away from the record. I love the whole record. It's just I prefer that process myself.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh, that's almost like a dream to, have a drummer from a band that you like listened to and maybe looked up to be like, oh, hey, I'd like to join your band actually. That's so cool. I don't know. That's wow.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. Like I would always listen to their stuff at the gym, and our manager had tour managed them, and I wasn't I wasn't familiar with the band. I didn't know them at all. And then when he reached out and was interested, I was like, well, that's really cool. Like, let's do this. And then I would say I was a little intimidated at first, or not intimidated, but like, you don't really know with, somebody that's like, they've been on like Warped Tour, and his other band, Modern Space, had toured with like the Arkells, and like they'd played at like, big arenas in Canada. So, it was a cool thing for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. So, where was your headspace while creating that record?
Just about everywhere you could ever be mentally, I would say. Uh, yeah, I mean, geez, where to get into it? Like Evergreen is a song about, like that kind of push and pull of, let's say you like are, like you don't love somebody, but you kind of want to, but you don't know where they're at. And there's that kind of uncertainty, and that uncertainty is a little bit exciting, but it's also scary because you emotionally involve yourself. I would say like there's songs like that. There's songs like Freak Me Up, which is literally just a narrative written about a guy losing his mind. I mean, the title track is about like mental illness, losing people close to you due to things like suicide, um, and just how that can profoundly affect you, depression, things like that, that are obviously, I think, a hard subject sometimes to touch on, but I think if you come from a place of experience and you come from a place of understanding with those topics, that the people who are listening that need to hear those songs, they will definitely relate to them. And I think it's very important that those kind of songs make it onto records, just because it's something that I think can be very beneficial for people that may need that kind of a song, So
Yeah. Okay. So what band or artist influences do you think you can hear the most on this record?
I get told I wasn't. Do you know the band Don Broco?
Yes.
I was told that we sound kind of like them, but I'd never heard them. This would probably be like whenever I name like my two current like favorite bands for like new material they've been putting out, I would probably say The National and Bring Me the Horizon, which are two total opposite ends of the spectrum, but those are two bands that I really love the lyric writing of, and I admire. I mean, they're obviously opposite ends. Yeah, like it's like a pendulum with those two. But I love David Bowie, Death Cab for Cutie, and Coldplay. Those are like some big all-time influences. But I also love a lot of heavier music as well. Like I grew up like on like Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge by Mike Chem, stuff like that.
All right.
Is that your favorite Mike Hem album?
Well, it's the best one, so it ought to be.
Okay, good. As it should be. I agree.
Yeah, as it should be. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll have
wholeheartedly.
to disagree, but we'll
He's a Bullets fan, so just ignore him.
Well, at least it's like what I don't get is the Black Parade is a phenomenal record, but it's not better than Three Cheers or Bullets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like whenever people say that, I'm like, yeah, it's a great record, but it's not. It's not as good, and it is the one that got the most acclaim for sure. But it's like, I think that the deepest, darkest artistry was those first two records for sure, and I think that
definitely.
Yeah, like they didn't know they were going to be huge. They just did that because that's what they wanted to do at the time. I think,
Yeah, and Three Cheers put them in the position to make the Black Parade as big as it was. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Black Parade, and I've listened to that record like a lot. But whenever I want to go back to one, it's usually almost always Three Cheers or Bullets. So.
Right.
Same. Wait, how do you feel about Danger Days? This isn't a Mike Hem thing, but just I have to ask.
A lot of people hate it. I think it's a great record. I love like The Kids from Yesterday is probably one of my favorite all-time songs. Like that song, especially lyrically and musically, I just love it. There's a handful of songs in there that I feel like aren't as strong. That's the thing, I guess. Like with Bullets, Black Parade, and Three Cheers, you have these three records where there is not a moment that is like not absolutely incredible. I even thought songs like Boy Division from the B-sides could have made Danger Days and like taken out a song like, I don't know. There was a couple songs on there that just felt disingenuous to Gerard and the band's artistic creativity, I guess. They just felt a little less driven by the kind of psychotic, spastic nature of him as a human being, and more driven by like that Summer song there. It's on there, It's just that.
No, that's one of my favorites.
That to me, that one just feels kind of like, I don't know. It's a cool song. I like it as a song, but I just think when you compare it to the rest of the catalog, it's like
it doesn't really fit in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. But I do love Danger Days though. Like obviously Sing, Na 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 is great. Planetary is great. Just trying to think.
Vampire Money.
Vampire Money's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool because like he's got like this when it starts out, it's got like the "You Ready, Boys." Like it reminds me of Ballroom Blitz by Sweet, which is very kind of throws it back. Did you guys like Hesitant Alien, Gerard's solo record?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it's good. I don't listen to it often as I should, but when I do, it's always good.
It's always loud. Yeah, no, that record was awesome. I thought too. Do you guys think that My Chem is going to do another record, or do you hope that they just keep the legacy intact? What do you guys think is going to transpire with the reunion?
Man, as much as I want them to, I don't think they're going to.
See, I feel like they are going to, because Gerard writes, like, he rents the whatever, like, once a week studio, and I'm pretty sure once they all get together, they can't help it, you know, but to throw together, like, oh, let's just do a jam session, and then it's like, oh, whoops, we made an album. Let's release it. I don't know, maybe that's just me hoping that they release something and I get to experience that, but...
Yeah. Well, before the band broke up, he was on... you can watch this on YouTube. He was on that show that Kevin Smith does. You obviously are familiar with Kevin Smith. Filmmaker, comic guy, one of Gerard's pals. And he said, like, they were talking about... This is right before, Gerard disbanded, like, dissolved the band. He was on there talking about how he had this character and everything and this whole big thematic, like, it was a big production, like the Black Parade, essentially all over it again. But, obviously different, and he had a character and they had a look, and then the band came out a few months later and broke up. But I think it's like, I think he probably can't help himself because he's such a creative guy, but I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, when they did the reunion shows, they looked just like, there wasn't it wasn't like, it wasn't like they were dressed like Three Cheers or the Black Parade or anything. It was just like, those are the boys, you know what I mean? Just very casual, but there they are. Kind of like Smashing Pumpkins thing, right?
Yeah.
I think
when they came back.
Wasn't that album that he talked about, The Paper Kingdom, which was like the one that they started,
and
then the only song that came out was Fake Your Death on the album thing that they put out.
The 10th anniversary thing.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Wow. I respect you, like, a lot. That was great. You, because you know your stuff. That's good. You're not just like, well, Black Parade's the best album because it has Welcome to the Black Parade, so...
Yeah, I'm a fanboy for sure at heart. I definitely grew up a fanboy, so...
It's completely valid.
Yeah.
Alright, solid. So back to your work. What made you choose the album name, Antiheroes? And is there any meaning behind the cover art?
The cover art is a complete reversal of Colors of View. If you look at the previous record's color art, it's just different tonally, and I wanted something that really heavily contrasted that, and I also wanted something with less color that was a lot more sparse, a lot more kind of enigmatic in itself as a piece of art, more like Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division, like just less but memorable, our guy who did the art is like, he's actually Universal Records in-house like cover guy, and he's actually he's a friend of our managers, and our former manager, I guess. We have a different manager now, but at the time, and he's a great guy, and he gave us a great deal, and he's like, yeah, I'll do you right, I really like the record. And so that was kind of the thing, and I kind of just explained what I wanted, and he gave us a bunch of different things, or pieces, I guess, to consider, and that was the clear-cut winner for everyone, so we chose it. The title Antiheroes, to me, I think part of it is because this record is definitely not what anyone was expecting. Because I'm not like a contrarian by any stretch, but I'm definitely a person who is in music to make music and to make an art project, as opposed to I'm not striving to do something super heavily commercialized or anything like that. Like like if it ever happens and we can play venues that are 2,500 to 5,000 people or bigger and tours and sustain that's great. But I think that for me, it's always been most important for the art to come first, and to have it be where you're basically writing to try to fit a predetermined sound or something just to sell records and make money. Then it becomes more like a business and less like art. And I think that's kind of disingenuous, and it kind of is not the reason that anyone ever starts writing songs. I mean, in my world anyway, or in our world. So for me, it's just about making something honest people can hold on to. And I think that if you do that and you put your best foot forward and you write with that intent, that it will work, and eventually, it will catch and people will listen, and you'll only succeed. I think if you try to write, like, let's say you're trying to write for a playlist, you're trying to write for X, Y, or Z, I kind of feel like you'll just get lost in the mix, because that's probably what a lot of people are doing. Mm-hmm. And then you don't really stand out as an individual, and you kind of just sound like white noise,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you called it like an art project, and I think it blends well. Now that you call like your music that, your cover art for this record blends very well with that, because it just kind of looks like an elementary school art project. Not in like a bad way, that's just kind of like the vibe I get from the cover art, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm glad. That's a cool take to have on it.
Yeah.
It's fresh and unique, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to shit on the art, saying it looks like an elementary school art project. I'm just saying that's the vibe it gives me. Anyways.
Somebody finger painted that cover.
Yeah.
My little sister.
So you said the cover or the album took 3 years to come together as a whole. What song took the longest to write on that? And then what is your personal favorite?
What song took the longest to write? Probably Antiheroes. Yeah. Probably that one. I fussed over that one a lot, and a song like Super Bloom, that took like 5 minutes. I think Ocean took like a week. Hate Me took like 10 minutes. Because Hate Me was never supposed to be on a record, that was the song that was like, I wrote it for me for fun. And our manager was like, that's really badass. Like, it's really cool. And I was like, no, it's too heavy. It can't be on a record. It can't. It's not allowed. It's like totally opposite of what we do. I can't do it. And he's like, I'll pay for it. And I was like, okay, I can go on the record. So it's like, but no, Antiheroes, like, I generally am a guy that will write like a song, have a composition, have a lyric, have a melody, and then I will have, I will fuss over lyrics until until we're in the studio, even if the music's written. So like when I'm in writing mode for a record, like right now I've got our next record. I've got like 11 songs that I like, and
11?
I'll probably write like 11 for the next record that are not. I'll probably write like 70 or 80 and then pick like 9 for the next record. That's like how my process is like for this record I had like 3 years, I had like 80 songs, and I picked 9. That kind of all over the map that I liked the most and that I thought had the widest range of influence, and also were just the strongest as a principle of just how they were written. Yeah.
So wait, so you said you have like 80, 90 songs. How do you go about trimming it down to just 9?
That's easy, to be honest.
Do most of them come out like garbage then? Like, how does it...
No, it's just like certain ones have this thing, and I can't really explain it.
Okay.
But I just know when an idea is worth pursuing in my own head enough, I guess. And maybe I'm wrong sometimes, and sometimes songs don't make the records that should. But it's usually pretty much a 100% an internal process. And it just like, it's like an innate thing. It's like if I was like on the movie The Sixth Sense, I'd just be like, my special ability is narrowing down songs really easy. Okay. And it would be like not a very good, plot twist, but it would be a plot twist nonetheless.
Exactly, a plot. Exactly.
That is
wow, that's crazy, dude. Wow.
Okay. I get that a lot, but I find that surprising. I just thought that that's what everybody did.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just a crazy person, I guess. Like if I get into writing mode, I will like sometimes wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning. Like if you roll out of bed and you wake up periodically sometimes, and I'll like have an idea just pop and I'll just hum it, and then I'll just get up and start writing. But when I'm not in writing mode, I just I kind of remove myself from it and then recharge, and then I'll write cool like lyrical ideas I have, and like jot notes all the time for lyrics that are cool that will come in my head, or like if I have a melody idea, I'll hum it into my voice memos. But other than that, I definitely write better and with more purpose if it's like, hey, we have studio time, this is the date. Then it's like, okay, let's go. Let's really hammer it out.
All right. Wait, so are the 80 odd songs that you had written, were they like fully written with like melodies and like a chorus and a bridge and an opener? Like, was it finished and then you're just like,
Oh yeah,
I didn't like
yeah,
that one?
yeah.
Yes.
Like I think if you don't get a song to that point, then it's really hard to tell if it's true potential. So it's important to push it to that place. Otherwise, it's kind of like you might be sleeping on something good. You know what I mean? And I think if you
Yeah.
get to that spot, and there's like a good skeleton point you can get it to, and if you get it to that skeleton point, so to speak, it's really easy to determine for me, like, you know, when the band comes in and collabs, when the producers come in and we add additional arrangements and all of that kind of stuff, is this going to fly, or, you know, is it not? Like, so it, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'll bounce, like Randor Lynn produced a good portion of this record and all of our work previous, and he's a really good confidant of the band. And when I narrow down some stuff, I will, you know, ones that I know that aren't good enough, I'll axe. And then if I have, like, I don't know, some outliers that I'm really indecisive on, I really trust his judgment. And our producers are good at that too. Like, if I really can't come down and say, like, I like this one, I like that one, our producers generally are like pretty keen on what I'm after and really good at helping with that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Wow. Okay. That's crazy. All right. So, this question should go like super, super quick. I want you to describe this album in 3 words.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'll have to think about it.
It has to be quick, off the top of your head. Yeah, off the top of your head.
Oh, it's like if I was like the top of my head, I would say it's dark and haunting and hopeful.
okay.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow.
That one fits,
Dark
yeah.
Haunting Hope. I love that so much.
So last question about the or the album. We haven't beaten this into the ground. How'd you pick that track list order?
How did I pick it?
Yeah, how'd that come about?
Well, there was like 10 other versions. So that one got picked because for me, Stay Golden, that song had to open the record. I think that is my favorite song. I think Antiheroes is the most important song I've ever written. I think Stay Golden is my favorite. As a fan of music, the opening track is my favorite off the record for sure. I'll be unapologetic about it. With that song, I wanted to write something that I felt was in the vein of like the Smashing Pumpkins 1979. Like, I really wanted that atmosphere and that there's a certain, like, a sense of wonder when you listen to that song and nostalgia. It all kind of like this big amalgamation, and it just wraps together nicely. And I really wanted to create that in a song. Obviously not rip that song off, but you use those kinds of ideas, and you know, you use that kind of when you go into the writing process. So Stay Golden had to open it. Evergreen is really moody and really contrasts Stay Golden, and that's why it's next. Is it kind of just like it dives you into a pocket. It's a lot more moody and a lot darker than the hopeful undertones of the ending of Stay Golden. And then you roll over to Freak Me Up. And the reason being is that Evergreen is pretty heavily electronic, whereas Freak Me Up is too. And they kind of just felt like a partner. Those two songs feel like they're related to each other. And it's not like every song on the record feels that way. So it was important to have, you know, songs that felt like they had a really nice chemistry together, be close together. And then Freak Me Up fades out really well into the pulsating rhythms of If You're the Ocean, I Would Like to Drown. What's interesting about that song is that when you start If You Were the Ocean, I Would Like to Drown, you hear a squealing, and it sounds rhythmic. It sounds like it might be a synth or Pro Tools. Actually, what it is prior to this, I used to work at a lumber mill, and there was a conveyor belt running that was under a ton of pressure, and it was about to snap. Because of this, it was squealing, and I thought, that sounds really cool. We could use that as a sample in a song someday. And so I recorded a voice memo on my phone. We put it in Pro Tools, and we manipulated the crap out of it, looped it, and then it actually plays throughout the song. And so it's like a very organic sound of that song.
That is so cool.
That's interesting.
It's a fun tidbit. Hey, Hate Me, just felt like, with Ocean, you come out of Hate Me, which has got like a nice steady rock groove. You come out of Ocean into Hate Me, which is like, heavy, fast, energetic. It makes you want to just let loose and really get into it. And then after Hate Me, you dive straight off a cliff and into a canyon, and you've got Super Bloom, which totally strips away the whole band. It's just acoustic and guitar, and that's meant to set up the rest of the record. And it's also meant to keep the listener, like if they think that they've got the band figured out, it's meant to remind them that they don't, and that we'll do whatever we want because that's just how we are. After that, we've got Glow, which is like your summer beach song. It's like your top down in the car with the friends. It's unapologetically written about my first experiences with love. And it's a very poppy energy, a very different alt pop energy for the record. Definitely stands out on the record to me as something that I don't think anyone expects Glow on the record for sure. Wallflower, I think bleeds nicely on Glow and picks up the energy again before diving in Antiheroes, which is slow to start, but picks it up kind of like a train picking up speed over the process of time and stuff like that. And I think it ends perfectly with Antiheroes. And in fairness, every record we've ever done, the title track does finish the record. Thing that definitely is not, it's definitely intentional. Like, it's like, I Hope You're Well, Colors of You, and Antiheroes. So, I mean, some people are like, hey, they catch on to little things like that. And I think when you have these little details, you put more emphasis on, it gives people even more to be interested in, and it makes it even more of an interesting project for people to find themselves in.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
That's crazy. Yeah. So when live shows come back, what 3 songs from this album are you looking forward to playing live?
We played almost the entire album at our last live show for like a bunch of fans. It was pretty cool.
Bro.
Yeah, it was hype. It was cool. I really liked playing Hate Me. Was a lot of fun. Stay Golden, I really liked playing live. And Wallflower. Yeah, Wallflower is a blast. So is Ocean, but Ocean is kind of tough because I switch guitar from like dirty to clean a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's just like an interesting, intricate picking pattern. So it's like, it's a lot for my brain to digest between my feet, my hands, trying to entertain a crowd and sing. So it is a great song, but it's like one of those ones that's like, Evergreen is also really rad live. But all of them, honestly, I don't know if there's a song on there we won't play live, but I definitely do enjoy playing them for sure.
Okay. All right. So where do you see the band in the next 5 years?
I don't know. I guess that's up to the people listening to our music. I hope that the record is well received, and I hope that we can continue doing what we're doing. And I think as long as we're providing music for people that creates hope and inspires them, and they can identify with the lyrics and things like that, I think if we keep doing that, that will only grow and things will only get better for us, and we'll tour more and more, and definitely try to keep reaching new audiences. And I'm definitely an optimist. I definitely really believe in what we're doing. I know that in today's culture, it's like, oh, it's so hard for bands to make it and stuff. But I think that if you're really in it for the right reasons, and you look at guys like Bon Iver, he didn't put Skinny Love out till he was like 31. Things like that, where you just look at, it's really just about doing something honest. And I think that will get us to our next step. And I really think that obviously the only direction we can go is up from here. And I'm fortunate enough to find myself in a band with and management and a whole team that definitely really believes in everything about the project as well. And we're definitely humble, though. We're like the most chillest dudes you'll ever meet. We're definitely not dicks or anything. 100% no. Yeah. We're all pretty insecure little babies deep down, but we play it off well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. So for the last couple questions, we're actually going to shift away from music, if that's okay. And We're going to go straight to death row. So, if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
With a drink?
With a drink.
I make this really good stir fry, and it's like it's super. I'm a super healthy eater, like ridiculously healthy. Okay, you know what? No, if we're on death row, I don't even care about eating healthy anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say something like shitty and get laughed at, but like, I haven't
It's
eaten
death
fast
row.
food. Okay, I haven't eaten fast food in 4 years. Like, I haven't eaten processed sugar in 2 years, so I don't eat anything like that.
Mhm.
I'd probably go nuts and get like some pizzas. Like I'd get pizzas and Big Macs. Like, I would just go nuts on the junk food if I was gonna
Mhm.
die. I'm sorry, I wouldn't get some expensive meal because when you haven't eaten junk food in like 3 4 years, it's like it would be nice, but something really nice like that, or just go hard on that. Yeah, that's all I could think. Like, as shitty as this is, like, I don't know if I apologize if you guys are like vegans or anything, but like popcorn chicken is like KFC popcorn chicken. I haven't had that in like 5 years. I'd probably
Oh
eat
no,
some of
I
that.
agree.
Yeah, and like pizza, like Pizza Hut or like whatever. Boston Pizza in Canada has some amazing pizzas. I'd probably stuff a couple of those down. And for a drink, I would go with I haven't had pop in like 5 years. Let's go with root beer or cream soda.
Okay,
Solid
Yeah.
so your body would
taste.
shut down before they could kill you.
That's the goal. Yeah, I would actually, because I haven't had those things, I'd probably go into like some sort of shock, sugar induced. No
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
So,
Just eat
So
that
dark.
shittiest meal before I die.
Exactly,
so
bro. Go out your own way.
on a much lighter note,
Mhm.
if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Pokemon. I've already considered this question.
That was great.
If this world was the world that we see in the Pokemon anime and games, and we just lived to catch Pokemon, train, battle gym leaders, man, life would be amazing. I'm a
It
big
would be.
Nintendo, big anime fan, so like that, 100%, that would be the world for me.
Okay.
Solid. Okay.
I've considered that. Yeah, I knew that one. So
All right.
Wonderful. So I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person we've spoken to has actually said it's the most important question. What's your favorite color?
blue,
Blue? Specific shade?
like lightish, like ocean blue.
Ocean. Ooh.
All right.
Taste.
Solid.
Yeah.
So as Gloria said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
No, I mean, just pick up the record and come to a show. Like, if you got, obviously, where you stream music. If you're listening to this, you know where you stream music. Just type in Violet Night, grab our stuff, check it out. I hope it clicks with you, and I hope you enjoy what you hear, and I hope you enjoyed the interview. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything to plug. I mean, keep up on our socials, like our Instagram and all that. And next time we're on tour, if you come to a show, if you DM us, I will do my best to meet you and hang out with you, because I think that if people are passionate about what we're doing, least you can do is give back and meet people for that kind of stuff. I've definitely always tried to be the guy to do that, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wholesome.
Thank you for sitting down with us. This has been Connor from Violet Night, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.